Hello, this is Andrea Williams. I have in my hand here the judgment in the case of Dr David Mackereth, the accident and emergency doctor who's been practicing for almost 30 years. He's a remarkable man of faith who believes passionately in the Lord Jesus Christ and also believes passionately that we are made in the image of God, male and female. And for raising that issue as he was training to be an assessor disability assessor for the Department of Work and Pensions, for raising that objection in a training session where he said that he would not be able to put on a form that a biological man was a woman or that a biological woman was a man. He was forced out of his position. Now, the reality is that Dr Mackereth is a doctor that loves his patients. He wants to help his patients. He will treat his patients, but what he didn't want to put on the form was something that was factually incorrect. That was what he was dealing with in this particular case. Well, extraordinarily, the judges didn't seem to understand what he believed, neither as a doctor nor as a Christian. And this is what they said. And it was Judge Perry, Employment Judge Perry, with the members of the panel, Mr Verdi and Mr Trigg, that together put this in a judgment. This is the critical paragraph 197. In all my years of reading judgments, I've never read a paragraph like this, and I've read some paragraphs. Irrespective of our determinations above, belief in Genesis 1:27, lack of belief in transgenderism, and conscientious objection to transgenderism, in our judgment, are incompatible with human dignity. So, the tribunal is saying that belief that we're made male and female is incompatible with human dignity and conflicts with the fundamental rights of others, specifically here, transgender individuals. So if you're a doctor and believe that you're made male and female, that conflicts with the fundamental rights of transgender individuals. The tribunal went on to say, and this is in paragraph 200, further, they provide that a practitioner is required to follow, this is talking about the GMC guidelines, the General Medical Council guidelines, to follow the law relevant for their work. For example, the Equality Act 2010 prohibits doctors from discriminating directly or indirectly against others or from harassing them on grounds of a protected characteristic. So here the tribunal says there is a protected characteristics for transgender individuals. Of course, there's also a religious protected characteristic, a Christian characteristic, but here they're referring to the transgender characteristic. And they say here, they go on to say that we must treat patients with respect, whatever their life choices and beliefs. Now, Dr Mackereth does that entirely. But what they are saying, and what his bosses were saying, is that unless you say that a biological female is a man, or that a biological man is a female, you're harassing them. So what this moves to is compelled speech. What this moves to in the Equality Act is saying that the rights of transgender individuals trump religious conscience, trump Christian conscience. The rights of transgender individuals are more important than subdue Christian expression and Christian conscience. Doctor, you will be compelled to say this, even when it's not a biological reality, even when it conflicts with Christian conscience and belief. In our judgment, refusing to refer to a transgender person with the relevant pronouns constitutes unlawful discrimination or harassment under the Equality Act. This is very serious indeed, for our very freedom to talk of the beauty of being made in the image of God. We have thus considered if our conclusions above are compatible with the Convention, and we conclude that they are, because the right to manifest a religion, Christianity, is subject to Article 9.2, which includes the protection of the rights and freedoms of others. And so, belief in Genesis 1, being made in the image of God, male and female, is out. In terms of really applying it in the workplace, in terms of living it out in conscience, here in black and white, it says that is subject, in terms of a hierarchy of rights, to a transgender person's identity. And if you don't concede that, then it amounts to discrimination and harassment. Well, of course, it never does, because speaking the truth is to love. Loving an individual who is caught in gender identity disorder, who is caught in gender confusion, is the most loving thing that we can do today, to point them to themselves, to point them to who they are, made as God would have them made, with a plan and a purpose. So let's speak that truth out in love and compassion. And let's now get behind Dr. David Mackereth as he appeals this court ruling, for it is absolutely fundamental to freedom.